It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Welcome back to Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. We have a very special episode of the Oscar reactions from the 2026 Academy Awards. We just finished after those awards a couple hours ago. We have our ballots. We'll tell you who won between the two of us. It was pretty close. It wasn't...
It's never not close.
Yeah.
In other words, it's always close between Corey and I. But yeah, it was a great show, I think. I had a great time. I think they did a lot of things really well. Things that they typically piss me off with in years past or things that I harp on. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this already. This was a pretty decent show, and the winners were exciting. And we had a couple of surprises. Some went the way that we should have expected, and Corey might have expected. And some that went my way, where I'm like, I expected this, and then Corey picked a different winner. But we had some disagreements, but ultimately we came really close on a lot of these awards, and it felt like a lot of the same awards were between two main films, two main creatives. But regardless, it was a good show. I was really impressed by this year's Oscars.
Mm-hmm. I always have an issue with the pacing of the Oscars.
Yeah.
They mark it from... This started at 6 p.m. Central Time to 9 p.m. Central Time, and it went till like 9:30 something.
Yeah,
like,
it was definitely
over
over
3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Which I always have an issue with. But I will say, as a not a huge fan of Conan, and I didn't love what he did last year, I think this year was better. I will admit that fully. Yeah. There was still a couple bits that he did where I'm like, trim that out so that winners of the awards cannot get played off stage, because I want to hear the winners and not your dumb AI jokes or Subway Surfer joke.
That, or, like, I don't love those jokes, and I do agree with you. I like Conan O'Brien more than you do, and I agree with you in the fact that I think his presenting efforts and job overall was done way better this year than it was last year. But I think the Oscars need to stop kidding themselves and just... We're having a 4-hour-long award show. Whether we come in at 3.5 or 3 hours and 40 minutes, fine, but let's do a time slot of 4 hours. Stop trying to pigeonhole it down to 3 hours, because then we're just cutting things. And then we get pissed at presenters for presenting, and then mad when those presenters did a bit that ran 2 seconds too long, because those who are trying to get up and accept an award, something that is likely one of the most pivotal moments in their life, and then they're getting played off stage.
Yep.
Especially when it's more of a technical category, when you have a team coming up and they have 4 people, and 2 people get to share the wealth and talk while the other 2 just get played off and have to sit in the dark while the light turns off on them. Like, that's just not fair. So I think that overall just boils down to, I've accepted that the Oscars are going to be long. And I think those that run the Academy Awards, which they've learned a lot from errors in the past, because I think they've corrected a lot of issues I've had overall going into this year.
Yeah.
This year was really good. But I think they need to stop kidding themselves and just accept this is a long show. Most of these movies from this year were over 2.5 hours long. Our award show, recognizing these movies, can be 4 hours. That's fine. If we just go in with that mindset that, hey, we're going to have a good time, maybe, hey, fucking do it. Take a book or a note of the Golden Globes book and maybe get some drinks flowing. Have Ricky Gervais host one year. Get funny. Get mean with each other. But just do the award show. Allow people the time to talk. Have your bits that you want. And those bits won't grind on me and grate at me, mostly, if everyone that's going up on stage can accept their award with enough time. I like the bit that they did with Adrian Brody about, I'm going to come up, throw my gum, I'm going to take too long. Like,
take out the paper for the speech. That's funny.
They're willing to acknowledge some of the hypocrisy of the Academy Awards and allowing certain people with that kind of pedigree to get up and just be like, I'm important.
Take a 30-second joke about it.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's great.
So I think overall this show was great. There's things that they still need to learn from, but I am still surprised by how far of an improvement this award show was from last year's.
A few things I just want to shout out about the actual show before we get into the winners and our picks and everything. I like the opening of Conan dressing up as Aunt Gladys and kind of running through different movies, Sinners and one battle in the car. Like, I thought that was a fun little bit.
I thought it was well edited.
Yeah, well edited. Like, it's a cool little bit. As far as presenters go, there's not as much to talk about. There was a Bridesmaids reunion, which they presented a couple awards. We had Downey and Evans for a kind of MCU thing. They did a couple awards.
One of those was well done. The other one was like, oh, this is kind of awkward. The timing of
Yeah.
it too. You guys have chemistry. Where is it?
A lot of the presenters felt awkward to me,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. I guess just for me personally, but I'm also not on stage in front of 800,000 people that are
Yeah.
watching this, so like I would be fumbling my words or whatever.
We fumble our words in front of each other, and we've
Yep.
known each other for 15
Yep.
years at least.
So I'm no one to judge on
Yeah.
that, but I just want to shout out my favorite presenters of the night were Channing Tatum and Will Arnett.
100%.
I just thought they were really funny, and they had a good little rapport where it felt natural. And then
some of
like
the best jokes.
yeah, some of the best jokes, like transition into awards, were great. And then just lastly about the show, I want to shout out the In Memoriam, which is always a very powerful segment, but especially this year with so many powerful performers of Robert Redford, Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, Diane Ladd, just Rob Reiner, so many people. And I actually like the way they structured it. It was different than other years where they had Billy Crystal come out, do a Rob Reiner, just like, hey, look at this insane run he went on. Kind of talk about him, do a first In Memoriam, and then cut to Rachel McAdams, came back with a Diane Keaton appreciation post of just all of her roles, Annie Hall, Godfather, all that stuff.
Catherine O'Hara
kind of did like a little segue into Catherine O'Hara and all the rest. And then we had Barbra Streisand come out for a Robert Redford kind of finale to that In Memoriam. And I just thought it was a different approach, but I enjoyed it. I thought the music itself was really good, the score for that segment, and then just kind of who they appreciated and recognized on the screen. And it's always tough of like, who do you talk about? Because you could have a whole segment about Robert Duvall, which they didn't do.
Yeah.
They talked about Robert Redford, but it's tough, and I appreciate kind of how they structured it this year. I liked it.
And I think, and we've talked about this already off before recording, but I feel like we've gone into the In Memoriam aspect of the show, which is my favorite part of the show, because it is the most emotional aspect of the show. But going into it, you just have that expectation that there's likely going to be people that passed away from this previous year that might be missed, that might not make it, which is a bad thing to say and a bad thing to think. But that's the reality of things. Sometimes they're just not in there. But I think that they handled the introduction of it so well, and they did a great job at tying it to legends that are still with us, with Billy Crystal, with Barbra Streisand, with Rachel McAdams, having people go up and speak on the legacy of some of these more prevalent actors and actresses of our time that passed away in this past year. It worked really well for me. I think that it was a great starting point with Rob Reiner and having Billy Crystal speak on his behalf. Also, the awesome shock of having Billy Crystal on stage at the Oscars, which I've never really watched an Oscars where he hosted, but to know that like in the pantheon of Oscar hosts, he's highly regarded as one of the best.
Yes.
And he comes out, he does his kind of introduction and his basically his conversation with Rob Reiner of, hey, I'm losing a best friend and an amazing creative talent and partner, but look at all this amazing work that he did with me and beyond me. Like it was just really touching. I cried during the In Memoriam. I was really happy that me and Corey were sitting on a couch next to each other facing the same TV, because if Corey said something to me or I have to look at him, I had tears running at a certain point. It was once they started transitioning off of Catherine O'Hara and talking more about Diane Keaton. The Godfather is my favorite film of all time. And I've grown up with that movie over 13 to almost 14 years now of me loving that movie. And I've seen all of the supporting cast of that movie, especially in this past year, kind of pass away. With Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, it's kind of hit a lot. And having that transitional couple of minutes between Diane Keaton and all of the other workers in the industry that have passed away, and then ending on that Robert Duvall kind of montage of clips. It was just, I couldn't do it. So it was one of my favorite In Memoriams from recent memory. I think that they handled it the best, and I think that they incorporated more into, hey, it's sad that they're gone, but this is also still a celebration, and I really appreciated that. Granted, there are people that are missing. It happens every year. It's a bad thing that happens every year. It's another thing where I'm like, again, Oscars, just steer into the skid. It's a 4-hour-long show. Spend more time on the In Memoriam. Allow this some time to breathe. Really make sure you get everyone in there. I don't love that they put two creatives that passed away on the same kind of screen, because they did like almost just kind of a presentation or a montage of whether it's an editor or a costume designer or a set decorators, stuff like that. They had creatives that were coming on 2 at a time in the way that it was presented. And I'm like, I feel like it's better to just have them all on their own. I think to give them all the respect that they are due. Granted, it is going to turn this maybe 4 to 5 minute long presentation into likely 10 minutes.
Yep.
But I think if you're going to do an in memoriam, then you have to do it respectfully. So you're going to have to do it long. And that's fine. Like, we're here for it. So again, it's just Oscars, present on what you're here to present on. And the people that are fans enough to watch the Oscars every year will watch and support this, because you need to do what you're setting out to do well and respectfully. And we're fine with that. So.
Yep.
I still think it was good. There are things that I'm like, Oscars, come on, you're almost there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're like, where there are times in years past where I'm just like, we're so far off base. How the fuck are we messing this up? Like in other years, they messed around with the order of the awards. This year they did too. But this time it worked way better.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as kind of kitschy or trying to catch us on like, oh, maybe we'll set someone up posthumously for a Best Actor win at the 11th hour of the award show. It was just like, oh, hey, we kind of found a new flow, a newer structure to it. It worked.
Yeah.
So overall, In Memoriam was great. It was one of the higher points of the presentation for me, of the show tonight. But I still think even within that, there are things that they can improve on.
One last thing before we get into the winners here. I love that they brought back clips for the acting categories. Even for screenplay, too, they did it.
Yeah.
Where you're showing people clips from lead actors and supporting actors and the screenplay where they have the text on the bottom of the screen. I love that touch, because for people that are watching this and maybe haven't seen these movies and they're like, oh, I want to know like just a snippet of what this is, if maybe I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
Because we're so invested in the Oscars and awards season. We know all these movies, but for people, general audiences are like, oh, what's Hamnet? Like, what is this movie? Let me see the screenplay. Let me see a performance from there. I think that was a really smart choice to go back to that. So I think that was a really great move.
It felt almost like it would have happened in like the 2008-2009 Academy
Yeah.
Awards. But you mentioned this during the awards. I'm happy that you were happy that they weren't doing the 5 actors coming out and reading a little blurb
Yeah.
on each acting nominee. So the pacing was helped in some ways. It was hindered in some
Yep.
ways, but it balanced out really well. And I think that what they did by, hey, let's bring back the clips. Hey, we're nominating this person for a performance. Let's show some of the performance. It worked so much better this year than it has in years past.
Yep, I agree. So, all right, well, let's get into the actual awards of the night beyond the show. So we'll start with the shorts, kind of like we did with our predictions video. We're just going to go from the shorts up to Best Picture here. Best Documentary Short, we both picked All the Empty Rooms, and that won. After last year of not getting any of the short categories
That was
right,
such a win.
we got 1.5 right. We'll talk about that in a second here. But All the Empty Rooms took the award. It was a good speech. I like that. And so we both got that one correct this year.
Yeah, moving into Best Animated Short, which always it's an award that me and Corey have seen together, these short categories, the animated short specifically, together these past 2 years, and we both got it wrong both years. This year we agreed that we thought it was going to go to Butterfly. Actually, it went to The Girl Who Cried Pearls, which there's some kind of talk of that going into the show. We're a little bit surprised by it, but yeah, went to The Girl Who Cried Pearls. I'm happy that was kind of one of my insurance picks, but regardless, a little bit of an upset for us, but also it's always so hard to judge these short categories, especially going into live action short, where even if you did judge it properly, you might have been right regardless.
Yeah, 100%. We had our... I was just looking it up because we've had... In Oscars history, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... We've had 5 official ties. I was looking at the Academy website.
What's the 6th?
Well, the first ever tie was in 1931/32, it says. And it was for Best Actor, where the actor had one more vote, but rules at that time said that if an achievement came within 3 votes of the winner, that achievement would also receive the award. The rules have since been changed, obviously, where it's just an exact total that has to be a tie.
It's like when you're playing tennis and you're like, win by 2, win by 2.
Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting, like, this is the 7th tie in Oscars history. The last time it happened was in 2012 for Skyfall, or 2013 Oscars for Skyfall and Zero Dark 30 for sound editing. So kind of an interesting thing. Not something we see all the time. We may never see it again. Who knows? But kind of interesting to see that Best Live Action Short was tied between 2 people exchanging saliva, which both of us picked to win, and also The Singers, which I know is your personal favorite of these 5, I believe.
Nope.
It wasn't.
So, Two People Exchanging Saliva is my favorite
That was your favorite.
short
Okay.
that I saw
Gotcha.
this entire year. But The Singers is perfect.
Okay.
No
Yeah,
notes.
yeah.
And it's one that I think while the night is still young, even though it's almost 11 p.m. Minnesota time, I'm going to make Corey watch with me because it's just a perfect short. I'm so thrilled that if there was a tie, it was between these two because I love them so much. But also, it's like, it's so wild that we're getting a tie in one of the short categories.
Yeah.
It's like Michael B. Jordan and Timothée Chalamet, maybe, or like something like you want to do a tie for Best Picture, something a little bit more sexy. Which, like, I get that that's not how it works. It is based on votes, but it's just interesting. One of the shorts categories, we got a tie. It's still exciting because I do like both of these shorts, and we kind of got to count it as a win because we're right, but like also not fully right. I don't know. It's weird.
I do want to point out that one of the other ties was for the same category, live action short film in 1994. Yeah, so
it's the second time it's happened
in that category.
98 years.
Yep, one was for actor, one for documentary short, one for actress, one for documentary, and then live action short, and then sound editing. So twice in this category is kind of interesting.
All right, well, fucking break the mold. Let's do it again.
We're counting it as a point for both of us.
Yeah, when we saw it, it was like Kumail Nanjiani was doing the presentation, and I think he was one of the best presenters of the night too. His introduction by Conan was funny. I think he had great energy, and him handling when he opens that envelope. Oh shit, guys, it's a tie. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen.
He laid out the framework for how we're gonna do it. He said one recipient's gonna come up and say it, and then I'm gonna read the other one, and then they're gonna come up. That's a great way to do it.
He did such a good job at handling that, organizing that. I was like, wow. One, I love Kumail Nanjiani. I think he's fantastic and funny. He's great in Eternals. He's a great actor. He's masculine, like he's muscular as fuck. This dude's yoked, but also he handled that with such grace and elegance. I was like, great job, awesome presenting job.
100%.
Moving into Best Sound, this one was kind of one of the ones that I feel like we were probably a little bit more confident on going into the Oscars and the award show. Nominees were F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Seurat. It did end up going to F1. I believe that is the sole award for that film, but we get to say that F1 is an Oscar-winning film, which you can say the same about Suicide Squad from 2016. But it means more here because this film actually has a good deal of quality behind it. It's a well-made movie. It's awesome to see. And also just like seeing the montage clips through the categories and seeing F1, it's just like, wow. And it does bother me throughout the award show. They kept saying, it's a good popcorn flick. And I'm like, it is, but stop just boiling it down to that. It's a good movie, too. Like, it's well-made. It's not just a popcorn flick. We've probably said that, too, on our show. But it was just nice to see recognition for something that was so well handled within that film.
100%. I'm very glad that F1 got an Oscar. It's an Oscar-winning movie. That's very cool. Another movie that got just one Oscar tonight, but it was Best Visual Effects for Avatar: Fire and Ash. We both predicted that. We got that right. It wasn't much of a competition here. It's the visual effects in that movie are insane. Even though I'm not as high on that movie, the visual effects are still absolutely insane how it's grown over the years. Even from The Way of Water to now, I think it's still very impressive. So we got that right, but it was kind of a shoo-in, I think, for everybody.
And it was really cool having Sigourney Weaver. I forget who was presenting with Sigourney Weaver.
Pedro Pascal with her, yep.
And Sigourney Weaver got to present that award to a film that she was a part of. So that's kind of cool. It worked out really well.
Yep.
Moving to Best Production Design, this is going to be one of the many that Frankenstein did win. It was one that we predicted, but the nominees, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Mari Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. Frankenstein did win it for Best Production Design. We kind of, again, it's Guillermo del Toro. Anything within that man's mind's eye, granted, he's not the production designer, but it is his vision overall that is the overarching through line in that film, and you can feel it. Not a surprise that Frankenstein won this. It was announced, and it was there are a few locks, and a lot of these more technical categories kind of had the locks. It was one that we could check off with Frankenstein.
Another one for Frankenstein was Best Makeup and Hairstyling. We both picked that movie to win. And yeah, kind of another of the three, which we'll preview in another couple minutes here. But yeah, went to Frankenstein. I just think especially with Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster, however you want to say it, I just think it's very impressive in what they were able to do there. Kind of everyone predicted that. So, yeah, Frankenstein, very deserving. Again, kind of glad it got a few Oscars just to kind of spread the wealth a little bit.
Yep. And moving into Best Original Score, which we joked about a little bit before going into the award show, because I remember when All Quiet on the Western Front was up in the Oscars, whatever year that was, maybe 2 years ago. Any time that film won an award, you heard that score played a lot throughout the night. And I was just like, what's going to be the score that we hear the most throughout the night? And granted, I don't remember hearing this one play a lot because it felt really evenly distributed, this award show, between movies getting different awards. But I was really happy with what did end up winning this award. The nominees were for Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. The composer of Sinners being Ludwig Göransson, winning his third Oscar at the age of 41 years old. He is what? You mentioned a couple of times, 2 Oscars away from John Williams' status. So this man is a genius. He's great. And his collaboration with Ryan Coogler is nothing to be kind of like belittled. They get each other. They work well together. It is a fantastic score. It is, I believe it was both of our picks for this Oscars that Ludwig is going to likely walk away with the score. And it is just so, immediately when they start playing it, even when they did the live performances of I Lied to You, and you can just hear the little bit of that instrumental from Ludwig Göransson's score, and you're just like, fuck, I need to watch that movie right now. The music is so important to that movie, so it makes so much sense why Ludwig Göransson would win this Oscar again.
I remember when we reviewed Sinners back almost a year ago, actually, at this point, probably. Maybe a little less than a year ago. But I remember I said that it wasn't a score I would listen to all the time on its own, but it's a score that fits very well within the movie that it's in. And I still stand by that because, like, I would vote for, if I had to pick a score from last year, it's like F1 or Marty Supreme or something. But I think Sinners, with the southern kind of Mississippi feel of that movie, but also the darkness that comes in with a vampire movie, I think it works really well. I love Ludwig Göransson. His third Oscar after Black Panther and Oppenheimer. What a range of movies. A superhero movie, a drama, and then a vampire movie. Like, I love that dude. He makes fucking awesome scores. Moving into the inaugural category of Best Casting, in a category that I felt very confident in, actually.
This felt like a lock.
Yeah, this felt like a lock of Best, for Sinners, for Best Casting, after especially the SAG Awards, when Sinners won for Best Ensemble, and like we had Michael B. Jordan win, and it was just like, all right, this felt like a lock for this movie. Did not go to Sinners.
Nope.
This was one of the first kind of surprises of the night. It went to One Battle After Another. And I want to shout out Cassandra Koulakounis for this movie. And it's tough because we're not maybe as familiar with casting directors. You and I aren't, and probably people watching too. But she's worked with Paul Thomas Anderson for a long time on Magnolia.
I think that's,
Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, The Master, Inherent Vice, Phantom Thread, Licorice Pizza, One Battle After Another, but also she's worked on a movie called Shattered Glass, which if you haven't seen Shattered Glass, it is Hayden Christensen's best performance. If you think that he's not good because of the Star Wars prequels, I understand that. Watch that movie. She's really good. He's really good in that movie. She did a great job casting that movie. But she's done other really great things as well. She casted, and then the show Gossip Girl, and then The Brutals last year. So, again, kind of a veteran of, so to speak, in the industry, and I can't argue with that because even though, like, Leo probably wants to work with PTA and Benicio probably wants to work with PTA, you have Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall. I think especially here, Chase Infinity, her first feature role in this movie is so impressive as a lead role. She didn't get nominated for an Oscar, but I think maybe that carries over here a little bit, where
100%.
Where she didn't get nominated in that 5 Best Actress category, but she got kind of a little bit of recognition here. I think it's just a very well-deserved award, even though we thought it would go to Sinners.
Yeah, and similar to the Chase Infinity kind of conversation or argument, you put Miles Caton in that argument. It was really a toss-up between these two movies for a lot of the awards of the night. But I'm surprised because of the SAG and kind of the momentum. But One Battle winning this, I'm not the most surprised. It works for me. I'm also really enjoyed her speech. She's like, I am everyone's enemy on set. Everyone has to work with me and deal with me. But I get shit. Basically, I get shit done. And I thought that she gave a great speech. I thought that was a really good inaugural win for this category. And it is someone that is long running within and has a good legacy in this category, in this field. So it was a good, well-deserved win, I feel, even if it was a little bit of a surprise of who it went to. Moving into Best Costume Design, we had the nominees of Avatar, Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Sinners, but we always thought for a lot of these decorative, more set designy, more physical design element things within the films were likely going to go to Frankenstein, and it did go to Frankenstein for Best Costume Design. Wasn't a surprise. Really good win for this one, and yeah, again, everything I said about Guillermo del Toro and production design, it bleeds through. It's just, when you work with Guillermo del Toro, I feel like it opens creatives up to just exploring the most visually beautiful aspects, aesthetics, whether it's more gothic like Frankenstein and Crimson Peak, or fuck it, put up Pacific Rim. That movie's stunning to look at still.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to get nominated for Best Costume Design, but I think that movie's stunning.
It's so much
Anything
fun.
that Guillermo del Toro touches is just beautiful to look at. So, not a surprise there. It was one of the ones that me and Corey both agreed on before going into the awards.
And then, going into Best Original Song, which we only had 2 of the songs performed at the Oscars.
I need to figure that out.
Plays into the pacing of the show, because a lot of years they have all 5 nominees play. A part of me is like, I just kind of want the best songs or like the front runners to play, but I'm also like, I do feel bad because the other ones, like, they deserve their moment.
But if you're not getting played at the award show, you know you're not winning.
Yeah.
So it's which, granted, the other 3 to me didn't really have a shot.
No. Exactly. And it's tough because, like, they played I Lied to You from Sinners, which is a really cool performance early in the show.
You got Shabuzi for 5 seconds.
Shabuzi came in
He popped in and he was like, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, but like Miles Caton kind of leading the charge
Yeah.
of this, and also playing into like how the scene was filmed in Sinners, of kind of moving around and the eras of music. You had Buddy Guy there, which was really cool. I liked his outfit too. I thought it was really fun.
I think they could have done more with it. Kind of in line with the film. Go out into the crowd. Fucking get really weird with the camera work. Do something a little bit more impressive visually for that.
Yeah, but still, overall, a very good performance. But Golden did end up taking this award. Also, a very good performance. It's just everybody in the crowd had their like paddles, or like kind of light bulb type paddles that they had for the song. You could just feel that everybody's just like, this is a feel good song. Again, like we talked about in our predictions video, where it actually means something to the movie.
Yeah.
It's not just an end credits song. It actually is a theme throughout the movie. So I think it's a very deserving winner. Even if I don't love the movie, maybe as much as some other people, I think the song is really good.
Yeah. I'm not mad about it. It was kind of foregone. We all figured that it was going to win. And during the performance of it live, it was like a no-brainer. It's like, yeah, it's got it. It's for sure. It's just everyone loves it. Yep. So I was actually really happy with that win there for Golden. Moving into Best Editing, we had F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners for nominees. But it went to One Battle After Another. Surprise, surprise. It was the one that me and Corey both picked. We're not surprised by it. Honestly, again, we can reference the car chase. It is awesome. But just the editing of line delivery, the dojo sequence, just everything is done so well. Chase sequences within this film are done so well. It's not a surprise. It went to One Battle. It adds to that kind of ticking kind of collection of awards for that film at this Oscars, and it works so well. So it was a good win. We both think well deserved. So not mad on that front. Happy with it.
Yeah. All right, well, up until this point, all the awards we've talked about, Mason and I had agreed on. If you watched our predictions video, we had agreed on everything, whether we got them right or wrong. Mm-hmm. This is where it gets kind of interesting. And Best Cinematography was one that Mason had picked Train Dreams. I'd picked One Battle After Another. It seemed kind of the maybe odds-on favorite had been One Battle After Another. It was kind of the favorite. We both would have loved Train Dreams to win. Yeah. We both love that movie. It ended up going to Sinners. And it went to, and I want to just shout out, Autumn Durald Arkapaw, who is the first woman to win for Best Cinematography.
Which is crazy.
I believe Rachel Morrison was the first person to get nominated, maybe, for Best Cinematography. I don't know that for a fact, but I just remember her, I think maybe for Mudbound. I think that may have been the first time that has happened, but
first woman nominated for an Academy Award for Best Cinematographer for her work on the film Mudbound in 2017, Rachel Morrison.
So first nominee for Rachel Morrison, who again has been a great cinematographer, just shout out to her, but the cinematography in Sinners is really good. I mean, I think it is solid. I think as far as the nominees go, we've said we prefer Train Dreams, but kind of the front runners between One Battle and Sinners, it's very interesting because we kind of flip-flopped on the categories of casting and cinematography, where we thought casting would be for Sinners and cinematography would be for One Battle. Kind of flipped there.
Yeah.
I would flip them in how we voted, actually, as far as how I prefer like, I think casting for Sinners, I would say that a bit more, and then cinematography, I think, for One Battle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Sinners is it's a very well shot movie. Like, there's no doubt that it's well shot, but I think
great. Yeah.
I think just because maybe it's in more of a one location for a majority of the movie, and One Battle is just so spanning in the dojo across these hills in a car shot as you're closing the door, backing out of a thing. To me, like, I just remember a little bit more of the cinematography from that movie. But again, very cool that Autumn Arkapaw won for this movie, being the first female to win this award, and very deserved. I mean, I can't really argue that much with it.
No, it is. It's crazy that in 2017 we had the first female nominee in this category, but 9 years later we finally had the first female winner in this category. So that's really cool. Granted, I would still say I would have, if we were going to narrow it down to the top two competitors of One Battle and Sinners, I would have preferred One Battle to win this award and Sinners, like you mentioned, to win Best Casting, just because that feels...
Yeah.
Sinners feels like it's made by a family. Like, that just feels like it is a family endeavor. Everyone in that film feels like they are 100% related. Like, it feels like there is blood coursing through everything in that frame, in every aspect of that film. Whereas the cinematography of One Battle, it works well within the jokes. Like, when you have Leo jumping from building to building and him falling to the ground, it works so well. So I'm not, like, actually mad that it went to Sinners, because I think Sinners visually is beautiful. I can think of a number of shots in my head that stick out. Just even that shot of Michael driving with Miles Caton in the buggy down the cotton fields, and he starts playing, and he gets excited. Oh shit! Like, beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, the way that the film looks, it's not. It shouldn't be surprising. It's just it wasn't what was at the forefront of my mind in terms of what would win this award. But it is a good win. It's interesting, and it is really revolutionary for that category. So it's a big plus. Moving into Best Animated Feature, we had Arco, Elio, K-Pop, Little Amelie, or Zootopia 2. Surprise, surprise, the more popular pick was K-Pop. K-Pop did win. I was salty about it, I feel like going all into this Oscars. Honestly, I'm not going to lie, that Golden live performance did help smooth over it. The feeling of like, all right, K-Pop can win. It's okay. And if anything, I'm like, sitting there watching it, when it won, I was like, maybe I should just rewatch the movie again. I've seen it twice, might as well watch it a third time. Maybe I'll like it a little bit more every time. It's not 100% for me. The animation is fantastic. I don't think it's the best film in that category, but it going to K-pop wasn't necessarily a surprise. Me and Corey agreed on it, so it was just more of like, all right, it's already written, just say it out loud, please.
Yeah, it's... This past year for 2025 animated movies wasn't as strong as other years.
Yeah.
And so for me this year was like, all right, K-pop is the cultural phenomenon. You got Best Song, you got this one. Like, to me, I'm okay with it. I love Zootopia 2. I think that movie's really good. I haven't seen some of the other nominees, but I do eventually want to watch them. But I'm okay with it getting it. But yeah, 2 Oscars for K-Pop Demon Hunters is very impressive. Moving into Best Documentary Feature, which is an award that both Mason and I had predicted, The Perfect Neighbor. And I think I said in predictions, or both of us probably said, is Mr. Nobody Against Putin is kind of the sneak in. Probably one of us should have voted for it to flip up the Oscar thing. But yeah, that Mr. Nobody Against Putin ended up taking the award. Another pretty good acceptance speech from what I remember. And so it's the documentary feature plus the 3 short categories are kind of the 4 that really make or break your Oscar ballot, I think.
And we went kind of 2 out of 4. 2.5 out of 4.
We agreed on all 4, but I think, for a lot of people outside of this, it kind of makes or breaks, even if you haven't seen any of these, and you're just kind of like, I'll pick this one or whatever. But, Perfect Neighbor had kind of been the one people were talking about. But
for a long time, though.
For a long time.
I feel like it might have burnt out. I heard, the argument I heard from Mr. Nobody Against Putin came in so late, and I was like, I think it's too late. And I didn't hear enough of that. Granted, I like that documentary better. The Perfect Neighbor is my least favorite in this category. But I heard the most about it. So I picked that one. I'm also just not surprised that it didn't... It was a surprise because everything was pointing to The Perfect Neighbor, but for it to go to Mr. Nobody Against Putin, it was just, that's the better documentary. I also think Alabama Solution and Cutting Through Rocks are even better than Mr. Nobody Against Putin. but I do like the win. As long as Perfect Neighbor kind of lost, even though that was my pick, I just went with what I thought would win. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, documentary feature. I appreciate it. I know you're not a big fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I appreciated Kimmel coming out and the way that they kind of chunked it up. They did animated short and animated feature together. They did documentary short and documentary.
It's a good
feature
structure.
Together. I thought that they structured it well. I think having Kimmel come out and do those was I appreciated that. Whether you like Kimmel or not, it's up to you. Why figure it out yourself. He doesn't bother me. I think he's not funny. He's alright.
He's bland.
Him and I like Conan, but even Conan's shtick was a little bland today. But yeah, I appreciated Kimmel and the way that they restructured kind of some of the reveals or some of the awards recognition throughout tonight's show. Moving to Best International Feature, this was going to be a big one. It was one that we disagreed on. The Secret Agent was nominated. It was just an accident. Sentimental Value, Sarat, The Voice of Henry Rajab, which, let's be honest, The Voice of Henry Rajab should have won this and Best Picture, but it didn't get nominated for Best Picture, and it only got nominated for this film or for this award. But I had Sentimental Value. You had Secret Agent. I would have been so not surprised if Secret Agent snuck up and took this award, but it did go to Sentimental Value. I'm pretty happy with that. Mm-hmm. I think, I don't know, for international feature, I kind of almost prefer it to have gone. Granted, I like Voice of Henry Rajab and it was just an accident more, but I think I would have preferred out of the two that we picked for it to go to The Secret Agent.
Well, we even talked in our predictions that the safer choice was Sentimental Value. It got nominated for Best Picture and Director. I think Director is really a big one too,
yeah.
And of so many of the acting categories of 2 in Supporting Actress, a supporting actor nominee who was kind of in the running as well. So you definitely had the safe choice. I just felt Secret Agent had kind of a little buzz, but that wasn't the case. It walked away with no awards tonight after being nominated for 3, I believe it was 3, and didn't get any. But yeah, Sentimental Value I think is just kind of a juggernaut in that category, which in this year was more fluctuation, like as opposed to last year with like I'm Still Here, or other years where you see a movie nominated in a bunch of categories where you're like, yeah, it's gonna win international because it's nominated in something else. So that was a big separator between our personal poll. Best Original Screenplay was not really a separator because this has been kind of a lock for a long time. It went to Sinners. I love seeing Ryan Coogler get an Oscar for the first time.
Awesome speech.
It was great. I love Ryan Coogler so much. I think just seeing him and also seeing anybody that has worked with him talk about working with him and just like even text conversations they have with him, like they talked about in their speeches, was great because I think people respect him so much and he seems like a very welcoming, like, I'm open to ideas and I'm not like not to like shade on anybody, but like a Kubrick where it's like, it's my vision and this is what I'm doing. Where Coogler's like, all right, let me hear what you're saying. Let me hear what you're doing. And I want to, if you're a cinematographer, an editor, or a production designer, like, what are you working with? And I think that works all into that screenplay. And I think it really is a great screenplay. I personally would have voted for Blue Moon, but I really cannot argue with Sinners winning this award. Yeah,
pretty happy with that. Not surprised by that as well. Moving into Best Adapted Screenplay, the nominees were Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. Again, it's the battle of the two main front runners, which is Sinners and One Battle After Another. One Battle After Another in this category, which it was nominated, did take the award. Not a surprise. It gets, at least in the night, Paul Thomas Anderson his first Oscar, which was really freaking cool. And there was a joke. It was the woman that won for casting achievement, Cassandra Kuklundas, who got up there and she was like, weird to think that after all these collaborations I'd have an Oscar before you. Maybe you'll win tonight. Who knows? And then he won for his adapted screenplay, which it was cool to have him up on stage. We get to have him on stage a couple of times tonight, which, spoiler alert, I guess if you didn't watch the show and you're just watching two guys ramble about the Oscars, but it was really cool to get him up on stage that first time and just have that excitement from him.
Yeah.
And he I think he did a good job at paying his dues on the source material he was based on, of like, hey, he's like, it's adapted. I came here because someone else gave me good words, and I was able to bring it into this medium, basically. So I really liked his acceptance speech. I liked the win. It makes sense, and it was kind of the one that we were all expecting, but nonetheless, even if we were expecting it, it's still a good win. So I'm happy with that one.
It always felt good to have like adapted and original screenplay be Sinners and One Battle as the two juggernauts of the season, like not being in a category together, but win separate awards, being like, yeah, that feels good.
It was NFC and AFC.
Yeah, 100%.
We had two champions.
100%. Into the kind of big 6 categories, we have Best Supporting Actress, which has been a toss-up a lot throughout the season, but we both picked Amy Madigan. Amy Madigan ended up winning this award, and it was the first award presented for the night, and she gave a really fun speech.
So giddy and so excited.
Amy Madigan, she's like, I was shaving my legs in the shower, thinking of what I wanted to say. It's a very Amy Madigan speech. I love it.
And I remembered I'm wearing pants, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, after, I forget, maybe 20 or 30 years after she was nominated for Twice in a Lifetime, getting her first Oscar is so cool. She's been in Field of Dreams. It's like, Amy Madigan is just such a veteran in the industry that maybe isn't as well known as so many other people, but I think even just like I think I mentioned it in last week's kind of main episode that I watched Weapons with my mom, and just her performance is so dominating as Gladys in that movie, and it's so cool that we're recognizing genre horror in a Zach Cregger horror movie. That's great, and I was kind of worried that it was like, it's gonna go to like a One Battle or a Sinners or something, but it's like, I like that Weapons is an Oscar-winning movie now.
100%. Twice in a Lifetime came out in 1985, so it's 40 years.
40 years.
Isn't that
okay?
Fucking crazy?
There it is. Yep.
And I know she mentioned a number, but that's still crazy.
Yeah.
40 years later, she finally wins her Oscar, and I love the flowers that she was willing to throw towards Zach Cregger, just because I know Zach Cregger from Whitest Kids You Know on YouTube. I grew up watching his kind of shtick, his little sketch comedy, racy shit when I was like 8 years old, thinking that was the funniest stuff on the internet. And now he's making baller fucking horror films. And to see a well-respected, well-regarded actress in the industry, Amy Madigan, accept her first ever Oscar and praise her director in that way, I was like, this is so cool. And I think her speech, it reminded me of like Olivia Colman winning for The Favorite, of just that sheer excitement and like the, no fucking way, this is crazy.
Yep.
Which, with the momentum of Conan starting on that Gladys little tribute as he runs through the Best Pictures, it felt like when we were going into that first award, I was like, I feel more confident now that Amy Madigan's going to walk away with this award. So that was a really good win. Moving into Best Supporting Actor, this was a big one for me and Corey because we disagreed on who we thought might win this one. Between Benicio del Toro, Jacob Elordi, Delroy Lindo, Sean Penn, Stellan Skarsgård. Corey put down Stellan Skarsgård. I put down Sean Penn. It did ultimately go towards Sean Penn. I want to comment first on Kieran Culkin coming out and announcing the winner of this award and presenting this award. I was wanting more from Kieran Culkin. Especially with him being such an eccentric, very funny actor. I was like, come on, give me more. He came out, he said, and the nominees are, he listed the nominees, he read the winner, and then said, Sean Penn's not here because maybe he just didn't want to be here. And now I'm like, there it is. That's the joke. Finally. But it came off of something that we couldn't really rely on. Like, who knows if Sean Penn's going to be there or not. Maybe he put it in word months ago that he wasn't going to come. But it's just, it was... I wanted more from someone that I really love and think is really eccentric and fun. I'm thrilled with the win because, like I said, I think Sean Penn gave the best performance from this past year. I'm a little surprised because I still thought, no matter what, I'm like, Delroy Lindo in The Sinner's Love. I was like, I don't know how much that's going to bleed into other awards. I thought Delroy Lindo might win this award. I'm thrilled it went to Sean Penn because I do think he deserved it the most. I think he gave the best performance. But I just thought, momentum-wise, maybe it will swing another way. It didn't, and I'm thrilled with it. But I still, if you get nominated for an Oscar, you are there. Whether you have an issue with where you're getting that award from, you show up. I think that is disrespectful to the Academy, disrespectful to your art form, disrespectful to the peers that are nominated alongside you, and disrespectful to just film in general. So, Sean Penn, I'm happy you won, but fuck you, dude. Show up.
This is an award that I would love to see the voting numbers of how close it was. Maybe it was a blowaway, or kind of a blowout for Sean Penn. I don't know how close it was, but that was part of the reason because I think I've mentioned it throughout award seasons that Sean Penn has not been on the campaign circuit. He's not been in junkets. He hasn't been doing stuff. That's not Sean Penn. It's not his thing. He's won 2 Oscars already, and that's fine, but that's sort of a part of how you campaign for an Oscar, whether that is how it should be. Because I do agree. I think Sean Penn gave the best performance of these 5. I obviously picked Stellan Skarsgård, and I don't know. I thought that maybe with him getting his first Oscar and kind of being a legend in the industry, I thought it would, he would win, and this was a big one for us, and it didn't go my way. But it's the one of the 24 nominees that did not have the person accepting the award,
and it pisses me off.
And I just think that also that was a part of it where Sean Penn isn't an Academy guy. He's not trying to please anybody, and he's not trying to do that. So I thought maybe that would play into well, he's like kind of a, shitty character in the movie, and he's not like actually wanting to be at the awards, and not that it should play into that, but it absolutely does. It's we can talk about what we think should win, but then also thinking of the outer, the narratives of Oscar voters as well. So this was a big one. International feature was a big one. You got both of those ones right, which I commend you for. Moving into Best Actor, which is something that, I talked about. I switched on last minute. We both got Michael B. Jordan right. It was a great speech.
Maybe my favorite speech.
You could feel the energy and the excitement and just the pure love in the room when Michael B. Jordan won. He gave a great speech. And, even if, for me personally, isn't his best performance even in Sinners, I think he's been so good in so many other things, but, it's just... You can feel it in this movie, playing two different roles in a movie that's loved by the Academy. And I think in my predictions, I said that the love for Sinners would be funneled into this into this category. I think that's what happened, because we'll talk about it in a second, but it didn't necessarily translate into other categories. I think in this specific category, that love for Sinners really did get channeled into Michael B. Jordan's performance.
I'm thrilled with it. I do think Michael B. Jordan does give, if not the best, one of the better in the category performances. I like him more than Timothée Chalamet overall. I just thought Timothée Chalamet had at least the momentum for the longer time. I think Michael B. Jordan does give a better performance. But it's interesting because it's I feel like the momentum shift late kind of does play into effect. But I'm thrilled to see that. I loved his speech. I loved his recognition of his mom and being like, my dad's here too. Where are you at? I loved the energy of it, and it felt like a people's win. It felt like a community win. So I think that that's such a cool thing. I always think when it comes down to these acting categories, what are those four people in that one-shot photo at the end of the night holding those Academy Awards? What do they look like? What does that group look like? So I'm really excited by that, because moving into Best Actress, surprise, surprise, Jessie Buckley from Hamnet. We're not surprised. She, again, gave one of the better speeches of the night. She referenced that it was UK's Mother's Day and the importance of motherhood and the trauma and the chaos that comes with motherhood. Me and Corey both being raised by roughly mothers outgunned by the amount
Single
of kids that they have. Single moms to a
yeah.
certain extent.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and it was a good message that her speech carried, and also just the excitement and love that she has for her cast, and also her husband. That was really sweet, where she's like, I want to have 1 million fucking kids with you. Whatever she said, it was just she's excited, she's happy, she's loving life, and she feels supported in her endeavors. And I think that it was a cool kind of her boiling it down to, I'm a new mother, and I am covering this movie, working on this movie with Chloe Zhao about motherhood and the pains that come with it. And it was just kind of right place, right time for her. Her winning this award is fantastic. She deserved it. I would have loved Rose Byrne to sneak in. I'm not mad about Jessie Buckley winning this at all, but seeing that Bridesmaids ensemble up on stage, and I was like, God, I would love it. Because that's where I met Rose Byrne, for me, was in Bridesmaids, and hating her in Bridesmaids. And then I got to develop with her and love her career from there on. And then for it to go to Jessie Buckley, I'm like, oh, damn it. Sorry, Rose Byrne, you gave a perfect... I wish... I don't love participation medals in theory, but just give Rose Byrne one because she deserves it. But Jessie Buckley winning this, it was a foregone conclusion that we all kind of were expecting, and it's great that it happened.
Yeah, she hit all the precursors. She won. She was the one lock of the actor, of the 4 actor awards that I think we all kind of hit, so we both got that one. Best Director, again, it wasn't as close as I think maybe a lot of people said, and I would love to actually see the voting on this one as well. I would love to see the actual number of votes, but Paul Thomas Anderson did get Best Director for One Battle After Another. This was his second Oscar of the night. Very deserving. He's been around the industry for so long, and I think he probably should have won for, There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights, and you could make an argument for a lot of other movies too, but Very deserving award, and just love to see him get on stage and kind of accept this award.
Yeah, I'm thrilled with this. I kind of felt at this point in the night when we're getting down to this award, it was like, yep, this is going the way we're expecting. This is going to go to PTA. Him winning, especially coming off of that adapted screenplay win, it was just like, fuck it, let's add to that shelf. Let's get this man a good little bookshelf in the corner of an office where he can fill it out, pad it out with maybe 2, maybe 3 Oscars, who knows. But to use that, moving into Best Picture, we had all these 10 nominees, great films, movies that we've loved from this past year, which, again, something that we can't say about last year. We even going into just recording our main episode from today, we looked back at some of the Oscar nominees from last year, and it was like, okay, like 6 out of the 10 of these movies we actually really enjoyed, we really loved. A couple of them we would delete from history, just all in all. But this was such a good group of films. It was a great year for 2025. The film that won Best Picture this year was One Battle After Another, coming from director Paul Thomas Anderson. Corey did pick that on his ballot, which it was between Sinners, One Battle After Another. Sinners probably had a little bit more of that edge going into awards night. It kind of swayed throughout the night where I was like, watching the show, I was like, maybe I'll win. Maybe Sinners will get it. Maybe PTA. And then just, it kind of bounced back and forth all throughout the night, which I really enjoyed because I didn't know 100% where this was going to go. I had an inkling, but I didn't know. And then when it was announced, you get everyone up on stage, you get PTA talking, you get the producer talking and being like, this is such a great group, and I got to work with Paul Thomas Anderson and going to work with him every day, and just kind of how it all has worked out. You got a great cast. It's an awesome win. It's a Best Picture win, whereas like Sinners to me feels like the mascot of 2025. I can be happy though with One Battle After Another being the Best Picture winner of 2025, more so than I can about Anora winning Best Picture last year, some other Best Picture winners. But like, I think that is a very strong Best Picture winner. It's a very well made movie. It deserves the win. I'm thrilled with it. I wish I would have put it down on my Oscar ballot maybe so that I could be maybe 20 out of 24 as opposed to 19 out of 24, but fuck it, that's fine. But I think it is a strong win, and it was just an exciting kind of overall night in general.
Yeah, well, as soon as One Battle, One Best Casting, that shifted
it.
That shifted. I already picked One Battle, but that for me was like, okay, there's more love, maybe a little bit for One Battle, which I picked, but ultimately it was not enough. It was not enough. I got 18 out of 24 categories. Mason got 19.
19. We're counting the tie that occurred in Best Live Action Short because we both put 2 people exchanging saliva.
It's a win.
It's a win because we got that right, even though it is 2 of those within that category that won. Within the rest of the awards, I missed out on Best Cinematography, as that went to Sinners as opposed to Drain Dreams. I missed out on Best Casting, as that went to One Battle After Another, as opposed to Sinners, which I believe you and I both missed out on. Best Documentary, we both missed out on again, because Mr. Nobody Against Putin upset a little bit of The Perfect Neighbor, and then I lost out on One Battle winning. But it's not a loss, because that's a great pick. Great win.
Yeah, so Mason got 19 out of 24. I got 18 out of 24. You won 2 years in a row, you fucking bastard, you piece of shit.
Honestly,
you're not even happy about it.
I'm not, because I wanted to at least get 20. I got 4 wrong last year, so I wanted to improve on that. Granted, we did add casting achievement as an award this year, so I'm kind of roughly the same as last year, but I want to improve. I want to get back to 1 wrong or 0 wrong, if that ever fucking happens in my life.
You're not doing that.
If I ever get 0 wrong, I'm dying that night, because I'm not getting better than that. I will cap myself. It's like how I approach playing Yahtzee with my family. The first time I played Yahtzee, I won. Guess what game I'm never going to play again in my fucking life? Yahtzee. If I ever get a perfect ballot, you're not going to see me on what is so-called tomorrow. I will be dead. I will commit suicide. It's suicide is not a joke. Suicide's not a joke. I will not live to see that tomorrow. But anyways, I think this was overall a really good show.
Yeah.
For the Oscars, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the music performances. I think that they need to better structure that out and figure out, like, all right, all or none. Because if you do 2, you're immediately alienating the other 3, and they have no shot. Which, Diane Warren, you had no shot. Why even show up? It's fine.
We'll be back next year with her.
We'll be back next year. Cause
fucking movie.
Honestly, we harp on Diane Warren, but she has a work ethic unlike both of ours, where she is on it 120, like just nonstop. We can't do that. I never will do that, nor do I want to do that. This woman is crazy, but does she need to get nominated for everything? No. Not for this, at least. And she didn't win, so it's fine. We'll stop talking about it. But I was really hoping that Sinners would win, so that because I have my Anora Criterion with the ballot all folded up since that won Best Picture, I have it stuffed in my Anora Criterion, hoping that I was gonna be able to add my ballot from this year to my Sinners Steelbook. But I'll have to buy a good release of One Battle After Another, which I'm not mad about because I was going to get it eventually, just waiting on a good release of it, and I'll add my ballot there. But because I won, Corey has to watch Anora again. That is our bet.
Yeah, speaking of Anora, I that was the bet, is that if I lost the Oscar ballot, I had to rewatch Anora. I've only seen it once in theaters when it came out. If I had won, Mason would have had to watch the extended editions of all 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Which one of those punishments is way worse than the other?
Nope. One of them's a lot easier than the other one.
Well, I'm saying yours is worse. Mine is better.
Yep.
Mine is easier. Yours, yeah.
Yep. Maybe it may not be this week because I'm very busy and traveling this week, but just in the coming weeks, I will do that. As I lost by 1 point, but I will take it.
I think it was last year too that it was 1 point.
Very close. It's very close. It's a very fun year. It's very fun watching the Oscars. We fucking love doing it. This is maybe our 5th year in a row of watching the Oscars together and kind of comparing ballots, and it's always so much fun. I love doing it, but it's always very sad when it comes to the end of this because it's like, damn, we've been building so much up to this, and like, all right, the Oscar push and the precursor awards and all this stuff, and like watching the movies, preparing for it, and then it's like, oh, it's done. Okay.
But then it gets to the award show, and we're sitting like, holy shit, you're wasting time, move it along. And then it ends, and then it's like, oh, fuck. Like, which we both do.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you guys are dragging here. Spend time here. You're like, it's just, the entire time we're complaining about pacing, and then it ends, and it's like, oh, well, now we're just sad.
There's a difference between awarding the movies that are nominated and the actual Oscars program of the 3.5 hours. So it's the end of another award season. It's very sad. Maybe we'll cover the Razzies next week, possibly.
Because we missed that on this past week's episode.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun little movie news topic.
What if we do that tonight? What if we watch War of the Worlds?
Don't promise things.
I'm not.
We're gonna see. We're probably gonna play Call of Duty tonight. Anyways, very fun award season.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking with us through another award season. If you've been watching us and talking with us through our reviews of these movies, Mason watched all of the reviews. I always appreciate how much he sits through all the nominees.
I'm gonna do it every year from here on out for the rest of my life.
Right on.
It's so much fun.
I try and watch, a lot of the ones I'm interested in. I'll catch up on some, and if I watch them, we'll review them. But it's a lot of fun. It's sad that we have to wait just such a long time to actually talk about like Oscar stuff again, because I fucking love it.
I mean, fucking Project Hail Mary is getting a lot of praise pretty early. So
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe that will lead over into the 99th Academy Awards. We'll get Project Hail Mary nominated for Best Picture. Fingers crossed, because I love the book and I can't wait for the movie. But also, I'm scared as shit because you're setting me up for disappointment there.
Yeah. So thank you again for watching through another year of Oscars. This is the second year that we've done Oscar stuff.
Yeah. And we're a lot happier this year.
A lot happier.
Collectively.
Yes, last year I was very upset with a lot of the winners. This year I'm very happy. Even though I lost, I'm very happy with pretty much everything I won. So
your punishment is pretty mild.
Yeah, no, it's, for maybe you, but for me it's going to be something I'll talk about. I'll probably do a rant of like 10 or 15 minutes. Anyways, thank you again so much. We really do appreciate it. Just share it to anybody that you think would love watching us just ramble on about movies. We try to keep it casual and just have fun talking about movies. So, in the world of film, it's not who's sitting next to you in the theater, or what is the fucking line?
Oh, you were so confident you almost had it. In
what?
film, it's not just about what's on screen. It's
I
about who's
mixed
next
them
to you in the
up.
theater. You flip the order, so now it's just like, fuck everyone else, just watch it by yourself.
Yeah, watch it by yourself.
Ted Sarandos is loving it.
Yeah, no, watch it with friends. Go see movies at the theater. Go see, these nominees are still playing at the theater. Go see them at the theater. Go have fun. I fucked up the line. Mason said it right. Thank you so much for watching our channel. We appreciate it a lot. From Mason and I at Slate Night, that's a wrap.